Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm going to go through today in the video 11 things I wish I knew about cold emails when I started. Now, I've been doing cold email for a little while, getting close to a year now, and these are some of the things that I wish I knew when I first started doing cold email. I'm currently working with about 4 different clients, doing outbound campaigns for them, and I wanted to just share all the different things that I've learned along the way, and then just go into a little bit of detail on each of these points. Hopefully get some value from this. So let's jump straight into it. So the first thing is spending time understanding your prospects. What do they do day to day? What problems do they have, and what do they want? Right. So you want to break this down. I have a guide on this as well, which I will share in another video. But basically, it's like a very simple step by step that gives you like a good template or structure to be able to follow, to be able to see, okay, let's research like this specific area about prospects, this specific area, and so on and so forth, right? What are their personal goals and challenges? What are some of the other challenges? What are the negative impacts of those challenges? And then what are some of the solutions to those things, as well as also what are some potential like metrics that you can tie in with all of these different things. Once you have that structure, then what that does is that allows you to get like to have lots of different angles essentially with the emails that you actually write. So yeah, that's super useful to kind of get down and get done before you actually start doing outreach, because then you actually understand who you're reaching out to, and you're not just reaching out blindly into like a void and have no idea who this person is. You need to know who you're speaking to. If you're speaking to marketing people, you need to understand the ins and outs of what they like, dislike, and everything like that, and just create like a customer avatar essentially to understand who are these people, what do they like, what do they not like, and everything like that in between. So yeah, that's the first thing, is making sure you actually genuinely understand your prospects, because then that'll lead to how you write your emails, your offer, different angles that you can test, the language that you use, different buzzwords to use, or different buzzwords to avoid, things like that. So the second one is lead with a sales asset / lead magnets. It will literally triple your response rates. So ever since for our agency started doing, using, for example, we build out custom lists. Ever since we started using that as a lead magnet, and offering to build out a custom list, or building out, or sending them a guide, sending them a template, sending them a checklist, a video, anything that's like actually genuinely valuable, that is free, that other people would charge for. Like people will, and you give people the option to just say, sure, send it across. And then you send them the thing across, it will literally triple your responses and then increase your booking rate massively. So spend time trying to think about or create the sales asset. Another potential option is to test that idea. So you could have like 4 or 5 different campaigns that test different ideas for lead magnets. And then whichever one gets the best response rates after you send, say, 1,000 emails, then you can focus on making that specific thing, right? So that you're not making it, testing it, and then realizing people don't want it. You test it, make the thing when people actually, you realize there's demand for it. Number 3 is send maximum 3 emails in your sequence. Don't overdo it. Don't send too many. Don't have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps. Send 3 maximum. So you want to send the initial email, a follow-up email with value, and a third email with value. And you want to make sure that each email is valuable. Don't ever send something that's just empty. If you send more, you're more likely to be marked and risk being marked as spam. So you want to just focus on that. Then the next thing is subject lines don't necessarily matter. Sure, they do in the initial stages of when you're trying to get into their inbox. But once you've understood what works, just stick to what works. Like, don't change it. There's no point in testing different things. There's no point in doing all this different stuff. Just find one thing that works, that gets you like over 70, 75% open rates, and just stick to that. Don't bother changing it. Don't bother doing anything like that, right? Just find what works and stick to it. Number 5 is relevance is way more important than personalization. So the whole idea of people have personalization completely wrong. They think it's just giving someone a random compliment. It's not. It just looks really fake, vague, insincere. Just people can see right through it, that it's just not real, right? And that you've just used like some kind of automation to do it, and that's what they don't want to see. So you want to make sure that when you're sending the email, that relevance is top of mind, right? And that leads into point number 6, which is the most important question you can answer is, why are you reaching out to this person? And when you have a good answer for this, and you could say like, why am I reaching out to this person? Because I see that your growth rate is declining. You've lost 20 employees in the past 6 months. So there's something up with your revenue. So it's more than likely that you'll probably need some help with that. Can I share this thing with you that's going to help you out with that thing, right? Like, that's super relevant and super specific. and it answers the question, why are you reaching out to this person? And on top of that, adds value to them to help them out in their situation that they're in, right? And then that's what's going to build trust, not talking about yourself, not doing any of that kind of stuff. That's what builds trust. So those two kind of like go hand in hand, but relevance is way more important than personalization. Relevance requires doing some level of research. And if you're not able to find it, then you can lead with sales assets. But if you are able to find relevant information online that tells you that this company has a problem, then lead with that, and then also have a sales asset as your soft CTA within the email as well. Number 7 is always have backup domains warming up on standby. So there are so many times when things will just get either disconnected, have problems, just land in spam, whatever it is, and the domain reputation goes down. Obviously, you do your best to follow best practices, but if you're sending a lot of emails, then it will just happen. So make sure that you've got warm-up domains on standby that you can just switch in really easily, so you don't have to wait like 2 weeks to basically set up a new thing. The answer, number 8, is usually to just set up more domains. If you're not getting results that you want, like obviously you need to look at, are you getting good open rates? Are you getting good response rates? Are you getting good positive response rates? Right? But the most important thing is how many emails are you sending to how many deals that you're closing? Like that is the most important metric. But if you don't have the deals closing, you have to work backwards. How many meetings have you booked? And if you don't have that metric yet, then what's your positive response rate? Now, obviously, these things can affect all of that, obviously. But the most important metric is that, right? If you have one campaign that you send 1,000 emails to, if you have one campaign that you send 1,000 emails to, and you only get one deal, right? But everything else is like the metrics are terrible, but you get a deal from that 1,000 emails, in comparison to another campaign where you get 0 deals, but you got like an 80% open rate and you got 20% positive response rate, but nothing closed, then go with campaign A because that actually led to money, right? But yeah, setting up more domains allows you to send more volume. And instead of like spending ages troubleshooting and everything like that, just set up more domains and just get to the point and just kind of do that rather than wasting all this time doing the other stuff. Number 9 is there's no one size fits all. Every industry is different. Stop looking for templates. This actually applies to this next point, which I'll go through in just a sec. But there's no one size fits all, right? What works for one person does not necessarily work for another person. There are principles that you can follow, like keeping emails short and sweet, leading with value, and being relevant and things like that. But in terms of the specifics of the email, every single industry is completely different. What could work really well, for example, if you're reaching out to like creators and solopreneurs and things like that, it's more than likely that they respond a bit better to like less formal language. Whereas, for example, with like lawyers or, heads of finance and things like that, it's more than likely that they're probably not going to respond as well to like super casual language, right? If you're like, hey, what's up? And things like that. So just make sure that you are thinking for yourself and there is no one size fits all. Number 10, do the opposite of what everyone else says. So lots of people look for templates, and I would rather look for frameworks. Frameworks give you a basis or a skeleton to build around, and frameworks are based around principles rather than a template. Template is you not thinking for yourself, whereas a framework is you thinking for yourself and then adding bits and inspiration and things that you're learning and research into that framework to then build something out that's yours, rather than just copying what other people do. Because then if you do that, then everyone's going to, people send so many emails that, people receive so many emails, and if they all look the same, then you're going to quite literally just not stand out and be exactly the same as everyone else. There are like 1 to 2% of emails that actually get people's attention and actually do quite well. So do what everyone else is, not what everyone's doing, do the opposite. And the last one, number 11, the more emails you send, the more likely you are to win, right? And this isn't to say just spam, just do whole shit ton of volume. There is a balance between quality and quantity, and quality just comes from those factors of, is this email relevant? Does it have a good offer? And have you provided value, right? And if you're doing those things and then you do that on top of sending more emails and volume, then you are just going, like, there is no chance that you can't win, right? And there's no chance that you can't consistently get leads coming through, consistently get sales calls, and consistently close stuff, right? So hopefully this video has been useful in terms of some of the things that I've learned since starting cold email. Feel free to take these away. I'm always learning and always updating my own knowledge, so I'll always share new things that I'm learning. But yeah, hopefully this video has been useful. If you're interested in getting like a step-by-step guide on how to actually set up your email campaigns and everything like that so you can land your first client, then there's a newsletter that you can sign up for below in the link in the description. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.